In the shadows where truth and tales intertwine, we find the thrilling, the chilling, the downright spine-tingling. From the paranormal to the peculiar, every echo has a story. Dare to delve into the unexpected, the unexplained? Brace yourself, for you're about to embark on a journey where fear meets fascination. Stay tuned if you dare, for stories that will make your heart race and your mind ponder. Welcome to the realm of the eerie, the realm of the unknown. And remember, like and subscribe, if you dare. My name is John, and I used to be a ranger in the remote woods of Eldridge. I've always had a deep affinity for the solitude of the wilderness, the way the forest sings its own song, the comforting rhythm of nature's pulse. But there was one night that changed everything for me. It was in the depths of winter, a moonless night when the cold had a bite to it, and the wind whispered tales of old through the skeletal branches. The world was hushed under a blanket of snow, and the only sound that cut through the silence was the crunch of my boots. I was on my usual patrol, ensuring the trails were safe and everything was as it should be. But that night, the forest seemed to hold its breath. The silence was a cloak, and beneath it I heard something. A faint sound carried on the frigid breeze. Whispers. At first, they were distant, like echoes of a forgotten conversation, a secret the forest kept. I strained my ears, trying to decipher the words, but they danced just out of reach, a language unknown. I shook off the unease, attributing it to the eerie atmosphere the night had draped over the woods. But as I trudged forward, the whispers did not fade into the backdrop of the night. Instead, they grew in intensity, closer and undeniably more sinister. Each step I took seemed to stir them up, like I was walking deeper into a conversation I was not meant to hear. The forest, which was once my sanctuary, began to feel foreign and alive with an unseen presence. My flashlight cast long, distorted shadows between the trees, painting a macabre tableau of the night. The air thickened with a sense of dread, and I felt the weight of unseen eyes on me. Yet duty called, and I pressed on, the whispers now a constant companion in the otherwise silent night. I could no longer ignore them, their chilling tones creeping under my skin, setting my nerves on edge. But as I continued my patrol, the whispers grew louder, closer, and more sinister. I quickened my pace, my flashlight casting long shadows between the trees. The forest, once a sanctuary, now seemed to be a labyrinth of dark mysteries. The crunch of snow under my boots punctuated the eerie silence, a stark reminder of my solitude. The whispers, once distant and faint, were now a chorus of murmurs that seemed to be closing in, a chilling symphony that played on my deepest fears. A wave of unease washed over me, the wind carrying a cold dread that seeped into my bones. The whispers grew louder, their sinister undertones making the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. The darkness seemed to pulsate around me, each shadow a potential hiding place for the unseen. Suddenly, my flashlight beam fell on a clearing. At its heart was a circle of ancient, gnarled trees, their twisted forms reaching out like the hands of the damned. The whispers crescendoed, a symphony of voices that seemed to be emanating from the very trees themselves. And that's when I saw them. Shadowy figures standing among the trees, their forms nebulous and shifting. Their eyes shone with an otherworldly light, a cold spectral glow that seemed to pierce the darkness. A dread unlike any I had ever known gripped me, a primal fear that sent shivers down my spine. I fumbled for my radio, my fingers trembling as I tried to call for backup. But all I heard was static, the crackling interference a stark contrast to the ethereal whispers that seemed to fill the air. I was alone, trapped in this nightmarish tableau with only the spectral figures for company. They didn't move. They just stared, their whispers now a cacophony of eerie voices that seemed to echo in my mind. Their gaze was unyielding, their spectral eyes boring into me as if they could see into the very depths of my soul. It was a moment that felt like an eternity, a chilling tableau that still haunts my dreams. Suddenly the figures began to move, gliding towards me with an unnatural grace. Their movements were silent, yet every inch closer they came, the whispers grew louder, more insistent, more terrifying. My heart pounded like a drum against my ribcage, each beat a frantic plea for escape. The world seemed to tilt on its axis as I fumbled to move backwards, desperate to put distance between myself and the approaching shadows. But my boots, once sturdy and dependable, felt as if they were mired in molasses. Each step was a Herculean effort, and yet The figures continued their relentless advance. The forest, my once peaceful sanctuary, had become a living nightmare. The trees stretched upwards, their branches clawing at the starless sky like skeletal fingers. They seemed to twist and contort, creating an impenetrable barrier that closed in around me. I was trapped, a mouse cornered by an unseen predator. My breath came in ragged gasps, fogging up the chilly air as I fumbled for my radio. But the device, once a lifeline to the outside world, was nothing more than a useless piece of plastic and metal. The static that filled the air was as cold and unfeeling as the figures that loomed ever closer. Panic, raw and unfiltered, surged through my veins, fueling a primal instinct that had lain dormant until now. The need to survive, to escape, overpowered every rational thought. And so I ran. I ran as if my life depended on it, because in that moment it did. The whispers were a deafening roar in my ears, a cruel symphony that played to the rhythm of my pounding heart. Their voices were a chilling reminder of my pursuers, a relentless echo that spurred me on. The forest was a blur of shadows and moonlight, the trees rushing by in a dizzying whirl of fear and adrenaline. I could feel the figures behind me, their presence an icy chill that nipped at my heels. And yet, I dared not look back. I could not afford the luxury of fear. I ran, the whispers now a deafening roar in my ears. The forest, once a sanctuary, was now a labyrinth of terror, and I was its hapless prisoner. But I would not go quietly into the night. I would not surrender to the shadows. I would fight. I would survive. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being pursued, that something malevolent lurked just beyond the beam of my flashlight. Every shadow seemed to twitch with unspoken menace. Every rustle of the wind through the bare trees sent a chill down my spine. I stumbled through the underbrush, my breath coming in ragged gasps, my heart pounding like a war drum in my chest. The forest, once a place of solitude and tranquility, had become a labyrinth of terror. The path I had walked so many times before was now a twisted maze, the familiar landmarks shrouded in darkness and distorted by fear. I felt disoriented, lost, as if the very earth beneath my feet had shifted, throwing me into a world I no longer recognized. The whispers grew louder, the voices more insistent, like a chorus of specters urging me on, driving me deeper into the heart of the forest. It was as if the woods themselves were alive, breathing, watching. I could feel the eyes of the unseen on me, hear the rustle of leaves as the shadowy figures closed in. I tripped, fell, felt the cold kiss of snow against my face. I pushed myself up, ignoring the sting of scraped palms and the icy chill seeping through my clothes. Fear lent me strength, adrenaline fueling my desperate flight. The world around me was a blur of darkness and shadows, the beam of my flashlight dancing over gnarled tree roots and snow-covered undergrowth. And then, just when I thought I couldn't go on, I saw it, the edge of the forest. I pushed myself harder, my legs burning, my lungs screaming for air. The whispers became a roar, a cacophony of voices that drowned out everything else. But I didn't stop, couldn't stop. I don't remember how I made it out of those cursed woods, but when I emerged, I was disheveled, my clothes torn and my mind haunted by the echoes of those otherworldly whispers. My sanctuary had become my prison, my refuge, a nightmare. And though I had escaped, I knew I would never truly leave the forest behind. I resigned from my post as a ranger, unable to shake the feeling that I had trespassed into something beyond the realm of the living. The experience had left an indelible mark on me, a haunting memory that would forever linger in the corners of my mind. Every crunch of leaves underfoot, each rustle of the wind through the trees, sent a chill down my spine, a reminder of that fateful night. I could still hear the whispers, a haunting symphony of voices that seemed to echo from the darkest corners of the woods. They were a constant reminder of the unseen, of the unknown, of the otherworldly. Sleep became a luxury, a respite that was often interrupted by nightmares of shadowy figures with gleaming eyes. I would wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding in my chest, the echoes of those eerie voices still ringing in my ears. The once familiar and comforting silhouette of the forest was now a terrifying apparition in the dead of night. I avoided the woods, the place I once considered my home, my sanctuary. The trails I used to patrol, the trees I used to admire, they all seemed to hold a sinister secret, a hidden horror that I dared not confront. The forest, once a source of peace and solitude, was now a haunting reminder of the terror I had witnessed. My life took a different turn after that incident. I left the solitude of the forest for the hustle and bustle of the city, trading the quiet whisper of the wind for the honking of cars and the chattering of people. Yet, even amidst the noise and chaos, I could still hear the whispers, a chilling reminder of the horror that lurked in the heart of the woods. The forest, once my home, now holds secrets that I dare not uncover. The whispers, the figures, the terror, they are all a part of the woods now, a chilling testament to the unknown that lurks in the heart of nature. The woods, once a place of peace and solitude, had become a haunting labyrinth of nightmares that I dared not venture into again. And so, our tale of the Campfire Horrors comes to an end. Until next time, sleep tight. Before we part ways, dear viewers, remember to stay vigilant. The Campfire Horrors may have been extinguished for now, but the embers of the unknown always remain. As you lay down to sleep tonight, don't forget the lessons from our tale. Safety is but a fleeting moment in a world of unseen. So, if you've enjoyed this journey into the abyss, don't forget to ring that bell and smash that like button. Do it before the thing under your bed decides to pay you a visit. Oh, and keep those night lights on. You never know what might be lurking in the dark. Thank you for embarking on this terrifying adventure with us. Until our paths cross again in another tale of the unknown. Goodbye and sweet dreams, if you can.